First of all, I'd like to welcome you here, Balakhilya, and thank you that you kindly agreed to give this interview. And we know that you are a person who not only teaches some spiritual truths, but also has been applying this in your practical life for a long time.
Well, first, let me thank you for inviting me here. I'm very happy to come. And my personal life, my daily life, what is my schedule? Actually, I'm following the ancient Vedic teachings of yoga. Specifically, we follow the teachings of bhakti yoga. And so, accordingly, I rise very early in the morning. First thing I do is take a shower to kind of wake up, rejuvenate from the night's sleep. And then I do my japa meditation, which is chanting mantras on beads. And I also incorporate in this time some simple hatha yoga techniques and a little deep breathing techniques. And then at a certain point, I like to go out for a walk, get out in the fresh air, do a little pranayama, some deep breathing, do a few more exercises outside. And also at this time, I do more japa meditation while I walk. Then, this is all before I meet anybody. This is before I have any contact with other people. And then around 7:30, I meet with people. Usually I'm at retreats, holding various retreats in many different countries. And so we all come together at around 7:30 to do our congregational morning program, where we have group chanting. It's called Sankirtan. And we also at that time will listen to a lecture from our spiritual teacher, or we will study some scripture. Then we will finish that with another Sankirtan, or group meditation. And all of this together takes us up to around 10 or 10:30 in the morning. Then we will all gather for a very nice vegetarian breakfast. Vegetarianism is part of the yoga teaching, and we all are following this program. Then after breakfast, there's a little free time. People can do whatever they would like to do, walk, relax, etc. Personally, I have to do at that point my emails on the internet. I'm communicating with a lot of people, so I always do my emails at this time. Then I often answer some personal questions. People have some personal questions they would like to ask, some advice I maybe can give them, so I do that also. And then around 2 o'clock we gather again for our congregational chanting for about 1 hour. Then I give a class from the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of our scriptures. And this is also for about another hour, and then another Sankirtan, or group chanting meditation. By the way, the Sankirtan is always done with the accompaniment of musical instruments, guitars, drums. It can be quite lively. We like to dance and sing. It's a very joyful experience. Then after this afternoon program, we'll again gather together for our dinner. Again, a nice vegetarian dinner. And then after the dinner, there's some free time again. And then we're meeting again around 6:30 to have another hour or so of chanting. And then again study from a different scripture. And ending that program with the final chanting for the day. And this is all going to bring us up to about 9 o'clock in the evening. And that's our day. Then we go, relax a little bit, and go to sleep so we can rest and be prepared for an early rise the next morning.
You mentioned vegetarian breakfast and vegetarian dinner. So how long have you been a vegetarian, and why do you think vegetarian diet is better than other diets?
Yes, I follow a vegetarian diet. For many years I became a vegetarian in 1969. And the main reason is because I said we follow the yoga teachings, and in all the yoga philosophies, a vegetarian diet is the recommended diet. So that's the most important. But also it's been proven scientifically that it's a more healthful diet. And another reason is because when one eats a vegetarian diet, their consciousness changes. They're much more receptive to spiritual knowledge, spiritual truth. They're more inclined to engage in spiritual practices. They're more compassionate. They're less aggressive. It's beneficial materially. It's beneficial spiritually. And also karmically, it is a lot better. See, you reduce a lot of unnecessary karma. You eliminate a lot of unnecessary karma by following a vegetarian diet. You're not involved in all the pain and suffering of killing animals, etc., etc. So from every angle, whether it's physical, mental, or spiritual, it's a superior diet.
You travel a lot and you meet a lot of people. What kind of people do you feel attracted to? Which qualities do you appreciate in a person?
Well, I am attracted to people who have qualities that are more in the mode of goodness, it's called. The people live a cleaner lifestyle. They are not involved with all the mode of ignorance activities like the drinking and the smoking and the drugs and illicit activities, because this type of a lifestyle covers the consciousness, and the people are much less receptive to spiritual knowledge. They don't have the vision to see how they should act in relation to other people or how to act in relation to the environment. They cause a lot of trouble in the world for themselves and for other people. They're more covered, they're more dull, and therefore I'm not attracted to that kind of a lifestyle. I appreciate the people, I respect all people, but if you ask me what I'm attracted to, I'm attracted to people that are more clean living. If they're vegetarians, that is very good, although that's not the only people I'm attracted to. But the people who are actually trying to elevate themselves, do a little more with their life rather than live just a gross animalistic lifestyle.
What is real friendship? Because many people want to have some friend, and they think that if you help your friend, that is real friendship. But for example, if drug addict gives drug to his friend, is it real friendship?
Well, we see things very differently than most people. You see, we see the person as the spirit soul, the person inside the body, not the body that we see. So if you want to help that person, then you've got to help that person spiritually, see, not only materially. In this way, we actually see that if you want to help the person, you don't make it so they are actually degrading themselves. Like you gave the example of a drug addict. Giving that person drugs is not helping them at all. That's being their enemy. That is not being their friend. So a friend is one who has compassion for another person. He cares about another person. He wants to benefit the other person. He wants to see the person's life improve, not become more degraded. That's a true friend. And the best thing you can do for another person is to help them spiritually, to somehow enlighten them spiritually, to do something that will make it so they see more and more that just gross material life is not beneficial, that they should actually look to a higher way of living, a higher goal in life. Even if you can bring them more into the mode of goodness, like encourage that they become a vegetarian, live a cleaner lifestyle, give up their illicit activities or their intoxications, etc., etc. That is helping that person. That's being their true friend. It's not always agreeing with what they do and supporting them in their nefarious activities, you see. So if you want to be a friend of somebody, you have to know who that person is and how to help them.
I know that many people would like to avoid some conflicts between each other, between them and other people, but nowadays we see so many conflicts between people on a personal level and on social level. Would you say a little bit why it's like this?
Yes, there's always conflict because people aren't happy within themselves. Number one, they're angry inside, or they're dissatisfied, they're empty, they're lonely. And so therefore when they relate to other people, they will relate to other people not in a warm, truly friendly way, but in oftentimes a harsh way, or they also want to get something from the other person. They're trying to exploit the other person, etc. In the material consciousness that most people have, they see the other person as an object to enjoy, an object to exploit. See, also they see the world as something that they want to own, to enjoy, to possess, to get pleasure from. But the other person is seeing it the same way, so therefore there's a conflict on that angle as well. People are fighting over the property, which is actually not theirs but God's. See, in true spiritual consciousness, the person realizes this is God's property, and I have been allotted a certain amount by God Himself as my due or my allotment, and I should be satisfied with this. I'm not trying to get what somebody else has. I'm not trying to exploit the other person, either physically or mentally, not trying to enjoy their body, not trying to enjoy their property for my own self-interest. So if I can rise above all of this material consciousness, then the conflict will very greatly diminish. And of course, if we were all on some pure platform, there would be no conflict. We would all work in harmony together in our common interest of serving and pleasing God. See, so we would be teammates. We would be engaged in a joint effort to please the Supreme Lord. But of course, it's not like that. So the more godless the society becomes, the more conflict we will have. The more jealous we are, the more envious we are, which is all a symptom of godliness, the more possessive we are, etc., then the more conflict. So the only solution is moving into a more spiritual consciousness, becoming purified of our material interest, our material lust and anger, and actually this will bring about harmony and diminish the conflict.
I know people who want to have a really happy family life, but it's not so easy. And what is happy family life from your point of view?
Well, it all comes back to the same point again. A happy family is a family that's serving God together. You see, really our true identity is spirit soul. Our true identity is I am the eternal servant of God. That is my eternal identity. That never changes. That will never change. See, when I'm acting in that capacity, then I'm acting correctly. So, a family that is acting in this true identity. See, the mother, the father, the children all see each other as spirit souls, not just the material body. Each one has their role to play in the family. The father has his role, the mother has her role, the children have their roles. True enough, but it should be based on a spiritual role. What is our function? Our function is to please God. So the whole family revolves around that common goal. And in so doing, the family becomes a very nice family. So the family can gather together, like I was mentioning early in the morning at our retreats. We gather together and engage in spiritual activity. Or the individuals can engage in spiritual activities. So that is how a family should function. They should get up. They should engage in spiritual activities, both maybe individually, but also congregationally. The group, the family comes together as one unit and engages, starts the day like this. They eat together, they share the meal together. This is also quite important. See, they may go their separate ways during the day, to school, to work, to do whatever they do. But then they come back and again, they gather and they share a dinner together. They spend an evening together, engaged in the activities of the meditations, the chantings, the studying scriptures, these kinds of things. And in this way, it brings the family together as a spiritual unit. See, it's not just a fragmented family, each person out doing what they do. You see, when they come together, they argue and fight, and you know, this is no good. This is not a family as it should be, and this is not taught in any scripture. If you read in any true spiritual source of knowledge, you will find that what I've described is how a family should be structured. And it's possible to do it. I know many, many families that are on this level And the families are quite different than what we could call an ordinary family.
Do you have some stressful situations in your life, and how do you relieve stress? Because I know that what would you advise to people who think that vodka is the best remedy?
You know, the world is full of stress. Everybody has stressful situations in their life, no matter who they are or what they do. But it depends on the internal environment. How are we stressful inside? You see, the external stress is not necessarily the internal stress. And if I'm stressed inside, then even though I'm in a peaceful situation externally, I'm still stressed. So again, the same idea. Work on your spiritual life. Become peaceful inside, in your relationship with God. Live a lifestyle according to God's instructions, to God's plan. Cooperate, harmonize with God's system. The yoga teachings are like this. Our bhakti yoga system teaches us how to live in every way. You see, how to live our everyday, how to eat, how to sleep, all these different things. How to see the world. See? And when we become more and more purified from such a lifestyle, then we become more calm and peaceful inside. We see the stress in a different way. It's not so alarming. It's not so important to us. See, the things that most people see are so important aren't that important. It's not that important. We see the important things as life is spiritual things, not material things. And spiritual things, spiritual situations, they don't cause stress. So if there is stress, what can you do? You can turn to the source of relief, and that is the Supreme Lord Himself. You can chant more, you can read scripture, you can relax, you can reflect on the higher truths, the reality of life. See the big picture and not so much focused on the little immediate picture, which is causing you so much pain and suffering, you see. And in this way, you'll be able to live a very easy life, truly easy life.
Internet comes in our life more and more. Do you think it's good or bad?
It has the potential to be good, but unfortunately there's so much unnecessary garbage on the internet that it oftentimes is bad. See, people have so much access to things they don't need to hear, to read, to ingest. The consciousness on the internet, by and large, is very low. I'm not saying in all situations, but by and large, it's very low, and people are attracted to go down, not up. In general, people want to find the lowest common denominator, not the highest. So many people are being degraded by the internet. People become addicted to the internet. Even very, very young kids spend, many hours every day, being influenced by all of this garbage. It's actually garbage. There's no actual benefit. See, so our spiritual lives are being damaged greatly. The consciousness is going lower and lower because of it. Also, many people think if they see something on the internet, it's true, but actually this is not correct. See, many things on the internet are absolutely not true. So it oftentimes sets a direction in life, or it creates an interest in life that is detrimental and not beneficial.
I know that you play the guitar well, and do you play some other musical instruments, and do you have some favorite musicians? What kind of music do you like?
Actually, I don't play the guitar well, so whoever said that is incorrect. But I do play the guitar, but I play the guitar to support our congregational chanting. This is my main interest. I don't play other musical instruments. When I was young, I played a trumpet, but I haven't played it in many, many years, so I don't play that anymore. My favorite musical artist, I don't have any, because I don't listen to, just everyday music. I don't have any real place in that in my life. I'm attracted to music that is of a spiritual nature, a spiritual basis. So that's pretty much my musical interest.
I know that young people nowadays almost don't read books. And do you read books? And what books do you read now, for example?
Well, I don't read just novels, if that's what you're speaking of. Number one, I don't have time, and number two, I don't have an interest in doing this. But as I said, every day I read scripture, you see, as I mentioned. And so in this way, I do read and gain from the reading. Once in a while, I watch the news or read the news in the newspaper just to get an idea what's going on in the world. And I try to incorporate this in some of my presentations to make very clear points.
What do you consider the most important event in your life?
When I developed an interest in spiritual life, and then the most important event in my life was when I met my spiritual teacher.
Can you remember some story from your life that you've got a good lesson from it?
I've learned many lessons from many events in my life. But I have learned over the years, I can't think of one specific event that changed my life, but I learned over the years more and more that a spiritual life or spiritual pursuit is what is actually valuable. And I've seen oftentimes gradually and not necessarily so dynamically that all of the emphasis and importance that one puts on material gain, material goals, material success is so fleeting and temporary, and it doesn't actually satisfy a person. And that one should actually focus their life more and more in pleasing the Supreme Lord and their spiritual teacher.
What does it mean to be an intelligent person? Because many people think that it depends on education and level of IQ and so on.
Actually, I again go to our scriptures. The Bhagavad Gita specifically states that intelligence is the ability to see things as they are or to put things in their proper perspective. This is true intelligence, not your IQ or your intelligence quota where you get some score, you see. So many so-called very intelligent people don't see things correctly. They don't even see who they are. They think they're the material body. They don't understand their spirit soul. They don't understand they're part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. They don't understand that the purpose of the human form of life is to develop their relationship with God and actually develop their love for God. See, so on a true understanding of intelligence, they're not intelligent. Whereas a very simple man may actually see the things I referred to. He may actually be able to understand, I am the child of God and I want to serve God, I want to please my Father, etc. Then that is an intelligent person.
What would you suggest to people who don't want to waste their life? Because I know that many people are looking for the perfection in their life.
I suggest that everybody endeavor in spiritual pursuit. Try to learn your identity. Try to learn who you are. Try to actually come to the realization, I am not this material body. The body is my vehicle, which I am temporarily housed in. It is my facility to operate in this material world, but it is not me. It's important, yes, but it's not myself. It's not the most important. And as I say, if I use it as a tool in order to satisfy God, to serve God, then yes, it's a wonderful thing, and actually it becomes spiritualized when it's used in this way. But I, the spirit soul, need to actually become realized in this truth and then operate on that platform. See? So this is the first point, to actually realize one's true identity. Then to realize that one's position is always subordinate to God. I am not God, I can never become God, I will always be subordinate to God. There's a lot of philosophies out there now that teach that we are God. It is not true. See, we're individual parts and parcels of God, His children, so to speak. And therefore, as His child, we should act with reverence, with respect, and with love toward our Father.
What would you like to wish to your viewers?
Spiritual life, spiritual health, spiritual success.
Okay, thank you very much, Balakhilya, for your time. Thank you very much that you kindly agreed to give this interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to everyone there, namaste, Haribol.